Dear EURAXESS community, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me to an event that I give the highest priority. Our researchers are at the base of European leading position in science and innovation. All initiatives to strengthen the engagement through networking across Europe are essential for a well-functioning European research area. It is a pleasure to see what you are setting up as part of EURAXESS Top IV project and how passionate you are about your work. Facilitating the access to the relevant information is a critical step to reinforce the links between researchers and jobs. With the EURAXESS initiative, we are supporting the job market, and we should be happy to see that in 2020, around 40,000 job offers were published on the portal covering many fields. The Commission and the European Member States are fully aligned in supporting more attractive research careers. To go further, political support was clear across the community for investing on EURAXESS and make it more operational. We would like to uplift and expand the EURAXESS network, services and portals to a talent management platform. This is a work to be done jointly, to design and develop the next phase of EURAXESS as a modern tool for the benefit of European researchers. Your work addressing cross-country competence hubs is an essential element. It will not only improve the quality of the services, but will also engage the EURAXESS network further with the society and further develop positive attitudes to science. I would like to thank everyone involved for the dedication and hard work you have demonstrated so far. You are creating the EURAXESS of tomorrow, providing means to reach out and involve more researchers and citizens across borders of the European Union. Please continue the good work, and thank you for your attention.
So the Pact for R&I really exists of four main chapters. First of all, are the principles. This is what you see on the slide. The other three chapters are the priority areas for joint action, the prioritization of investments and reforms, and the monitoring and coordination. If we start with the principles, well, I'll first say a lot of values. So the principles for R&I, it's really a lot about the values, and I believe the most important document we talk about values is, of course, the Charter of Fundamental Rights that is attached to the Treaty of the Functioning of the European Union. But in this Pact for Research Innovation, and we talk about values, we try to focus on additional values that are crucial for research. And the emphasis was really to put a limited number of values. So there are 10 values, I would say, spread over three categories. The three categories are upholding values, which I believe are really the fundamentals, such as ethics and integrity, freedom of scientific research, gender equality, and equal opportunity. They also have the values related to better work, working better. So we have there the free circulation, pursuit of excellence, and value creation. I believe especially this value creation is something that I really welcome, because it was something that I see as quite ambitious to already mention this as one of the key principles and values. And lastly, we have working together. So it's not just about working better, but also working together. And there we talk about coordination, coherence, and commitment, the global outreach, inclusiveness, and societal responsibility. So this is what is the first pact of research innovation, in case you haven't yet read that document. Second chapter really focuses on the priority areas for joint action. And these priority areas are divided over four categories that you see here on the screen. So it's deepening the era, amplifying access to excellence, advancing R&I investments and reforms, and broadening era and relevance, twin transition and society participation. Then if you talk about the first one, the deepening era. So this is really, without going into the detail of all these different points you see on the screen, but really to summarize it, this is really about how to improve our R&I systems. If we go to the next one, broadening era and relevance, twin transition and society participation. Again, without going into the details, this is really about links of research to other policies, on EU level and on national level, and how research can bring results to other policies. So there's a clear link with education, with the skills agenda, with citizen and society engagement, etc. The third category is amplifying access to excellence. So this is really about creating a level playing field across Europe and tackling the divide. And lastly, we have the advancing R&I investment reforms. So what we here actually do is we couple investment areas with reforms. So this includes the methodology on how to invest, as well as on how to improve the impact of investments. For more information, of course, I invite you to read the document, because I won't be able to summarize it in such a short time. Third area is really about, third chapter is about prioritizing investments and reforms. So here we have, I would say again, the confirmation of the 3% target of GDP. But I think what is also very interesting is that there are also other targets that you actually also see here on the slide. So first of all, we have the target of 1.25% of EU GDP. Public R&D efforts should be R&D efforts should be by 2030. 5% of national public funding should go to joint programs and European partnerships by 2030. And there should be a 50% increase for member states that are below the EU average when it comes to R&D investments in the next 5 years. So in the last one, perhaps I would really say that this is really about excellence, the 50% one, as I would say this is mostly on excellence compared to the previous targets. And then if you look at the last chapter, which is on monitoring and coordination, you can see there is no additional information about this, because this is really work in progress. And this will go about what we monitor and how we collect and process data. And so basically the European Commission should present by somewhere mid next year a monitoring and evaluation framework for the implementation of the ERA. This should basically review the implementation of the policy agenda, which I will come to soon, every 18 months. And finally, we also expect that this should serve to issue a report to the Council on the state of play of the policy agenda as well. But I believe that the Pact for R&I is the first very important development that has been adopted last week. If you go to the next part, it's about the ERA governance. So this is definitely everybody who works together within in the institutions, and I believe most of you do and have been involved probably countless times in several consultation meetings, or you have been working as an expert, or one way or another, you're very close to the policy making. So I believe this new ERA governance, this new architecture and roles are quite important. So first of all, of course, we have I said the three main involved bodies are the Council, which provides political steering. It adopts the pact that was just presented and policy agenda that I will present next. Then we have EURAC, so the European Research Area Innovation Committee, which is there to provide high-level political advice in support of the Council political steering. EURAC will have a new mandate, which is currently under the preparation by the Council to implement these conclusions. And finally, we have the ERA Forum for Transitions. Now it will also include the subgroups that were in the past reporting to EURAC. And so we can really see the reinforced role of the ERA Forum for Transition. Also, very important development is that ERA Forum for Transition will increasingly also include stakeholders. As you probably know, ERA Forum for Transition, it's a great platform for policy officers, everybody who is working at the European Commission, to to coordinate and to engage with the member states. Often what was then happening, but we'll use ERA Forum for transition to engage with the member states when we wanted to engage with stakeholders. Then we were often, for example, organizing dedicated meetings. And I believe this is, by also involving stakeholders in our ERA Forum for transition, this is a much more efficient way of doing things, much more structured way. And so we also make sure that we have all the stakeholders on board, and there are recurrent meetings where we can easily bring our topics to discuss forward, but also stakeholders can also present their topics. So also here, if we talk about the mandate of the ERA Forum, also this is something that is being, I would say, redrafted as we speak, and generally speaking, I can say the ERA Forum for Transitions mandate will be reinforced in the future, which I think it's a very good development. Then if we go to the final thing, the final novelty of last week, I would say it's the ERA policy agenda. So the Council conclusions proposes specific ERA actions contained in the ERA policy agenda starting next year, finishing 2024, which will be implemented on a voluntary basis by the member states together with the European Commission and in cooperation with the countries associated to the Horizon Europe program. This mostly relates to research, academic and business organization, etc. So there are 20 actions grouped under the 4 headings. You see 2 on the screen, 2 headings. You see, so the first one is the deepening a truly functioning internal market for knowledge. Second one is taking up together the green transition and digital transformation and other challenges with impact on society and increasing society's participation in ERA, and all the actions that have something to do with research that are linked to researchers. There is an arrow there. However, there is one action that I believe is much more relevant for the discussion of today, which is the action 4, which is about promoting attractive and sustainable research careers, balanced talent circulation, and international transdisciplinary and intersectoral mobility across the ERA. And who has opened the ERA policy agenda document, you'll see that there is a reference to the ERA talent platform, as we can read that one of the actions is to set up the ERA talent platform as the one-stop shop online gateway to EURAXESS services, networks and portal, also including HRS4R, Resaver, etc. I won't go more into the detail for the rest of the actions, although I do think that a lot of these actions, first of all, I don't think they should be much of a surprise for most of you. This is really in line with what has been, what the Commission has been doing over the last years. It is something that we structured these things. There are a couple of novelties, but I believe everything that relates to EURAXESS or ERA talent platform, I would say the direction of changes is expected. I don't think there's anything very new. The direction is clear. It is not changing. It is a long-term vision. And so even if we have these very important documents, I would say that this does not impact the direction in which things need to go. And if you talk about the next steps, so we had the adoption last week, Friday. Currently, we're in the process of setting up the monitoring scheme under the umbrella of what we call the ERA scoreboard. There will be also a policy platform to underpin all of this. Also, this policy platform should become operational next year. As a fun fact, for the development of this policy platform, other colleagues working on this are actually taking a look at EURAXESS. They really believe that EURAXESS model, where you have the national portals, you have the Commission pages, you have this back office virtual environment, how everything works. This is really something that they see as a very good example, as a best practice to get inspiration from to develop this ERA policy platform. Then, of course, we have the establishment of an ERA forum, like I mentioned. So this is basically the summary of what I have been saying before. and the explanatory documents on EURAXESS, I think, which should come out first semester 2022, and I believe it will be very, very useful. So EURATOWN platform, of course, the work done, everything that we are now doing will one way or another impact how the future EURAXESS will look like. I believe there is a lot that can be said about this. It's really about creating this one-stop shop portal that is based on what is already being done, so the services network and portal, but of course with additional features to make it more usable, more interactive, better fit for the purpose. Just to clarify one thing, I've been tossing around two terms, EURAXESS, EURATOWN platform. I would say originally we're talking about EURATOWN platform as a new version of I would say the next step of EURAXESS. We do believe it's a next step of EURAXESS, but the name, the branding will remain EURAXESS. This simply has to do with the fact that I believe from the user experience side, having titled EURATOWN platform might be not the most user-friendly term to use, and especially EURAXESS is a well-established brand. It is well recognized, and it would be a pity not to build on the already established legacy. I want to go more to the EURATOWN platform. I think the discussions at the next, I mean, there are this couple of blocks you see there, but mostly what I want to say is it will impact how the portal is. So they will talk about better interoperability with other existing major initiatives. We talk about a revamp of the partnering tool. We talk about reorganizing existing training modules. We also talk about setting up new tools for supporting recruitment process and support the changes related to research assessment as well. Then we talk about the services. It's about further alignment of the information on development pages, further development, implementation of the virtual assistant, chatbot, development of better reporting tools for the network of EURAXESS centers, etc., etc. So it's a really large update of several minor and major developments. This is all for my side. I won't take more of your time, and I believe like everybody else, I'm looking forward to the next presentations and especially the workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Slaven. I think this policy update will provide us a lot of, how to say, food of thought and help us for the next discussions. The good news is that EURAXESS brand will continue and will be behind new tools, especially the ERA talent platform, and that really we have a lot of work to do in order to help the implementation of the ambitious policy agenda. If somebody has any questions, we don't have too much time for discussions, but I think we are keeping well in time. So just if there are some fast questions. I don't see any. In this case, I should like to give the floor to Achilleas. Unfortunately, Dimitris Anopoulos is not present, and Achilleas will make the presentation on the achievements within EURAXESS Top IV on behalf of the coordinator of the project, the Center for Research and Technology, Hellas. Hello, Hellas.
Hello, Elisabetta.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm trying to share my screen, but it's not working pretty well to be in full screen mode. You can see the presentation?
Yes.
It's in full screen or not?
No, it disappeared right now.
Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, it's working now, I think.
Oh, okay, perfect. So the floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much, Elisabetta. Thank you all for joining this policy workshop. I'm close collaborator of Mr. Sanopoulos. We are working together in Top 4 project, and I'll try to give an overview of what it's done up to now to our project, which is relevant, of course, and includes all the pan-European EURAXESS network. I'll start my presentation with something more general about EURAXESS. So what it is EURAXESS, to whom it's who is the target group of EURAXESS is researchers, entrepreneurs, and universities and businesses. And this platform can give them the opportunity to interact each other. Also covers many issues like mobility for researchers and entrepreneurs, allows universities and businesses to find through the jobs portal of EURAXESS new talents, and also through the platform, people can be connected and share projects and find funding. I share also the link of EURAXESS. What else can EURAXESS offer except of the platform, the portal? There is the actions of the network, the physical representatives of EURAXESS that can contribute in order to boost researchers' career development. They can help researchers also to find job and all the relevant information if they are interested to move in another country and start the mobility. Also, it can assist the organization in posting job vacancies, funding opportunities, and as I already mentioned, to make this matching between candidates and employees offering positions and find for them the best candidate. Speaking about the project, is as you can see from the name, it's the 4th top project in the row. My organization, CERT, is leading this project. It's 42 months of implementation. It took 6 months extension due to COVID, which limited some of the project activities. So it started in September 2018, and it will end in a few months, February 2002, with a budget of 3.35 million euros. The main objectives of the project, of course, is the career development services offered by EURAXESS to researchers, to develop new services oriented to better connection between academia and industry, also to make EURAXESS more attractive and build collaboration with other networks, also to bridge the EURAXESS worldwide, the representatives of EURAXESS outside of Europe with the pan-European network, also to bridge more researchers from third countries and diaspora with the ERA, and finally to enhance the collaboration within the network in order to offer the best services and the most diverse information they can, of course, for the advantage of researchers. Regarding the achievements so far, this is the summary of the achievements. I will read the titles because then we will go in analyzing one by one. So we are focusing on the themes, the career development of researchers and their families, industry, also researchers in the view of mentoring, the human resource, the HR strategy for researchers, and of course, diaspora researchers. For the first career development of researchers, through the project, these 4 activities, achievements were done. First is the career development tool. It's an asset for self-assessing and learning through the online platform. Also the community of practice for career development with very useful recommendation. You can find more information in this link. The training module for the refugee researchers integration in ERA, offering a lot of information from them and trying to assist them to be integrated. And the mentoring programs, the Rebecca mentoring program and the integration mentoring program. As for researchers and their families, the achievements are the dual career guidebook, which offers services and information to the researchers and their partners. A flexible, also an adaptable tool for calling EURAXESS family network for researchers and then families, managing diversity for the inclusion of researchers from different cultures, and of course the refugee initiative, this modular structure for training of them in order to be integrated in the European job market. Some examples of these activities regarding families, the twinning. Twinning has to do with dual career, or there are established 13 twinning pairs from 24 different universities and research organizations. Also, family network was built, and researchers and families organized family events. As for diversity management, training materials and networks and trainings are organized. And for refugees, researchers, materials and workshops, as we said, to assist them and their families. Here you can see a few pictures from the family network activities in Czech Republic. As you can see, we have some examples of 3 events organized in 2019, 20, and 21. As for the achievements of top 4 for industry, as I already mentioned, just the names is the 2. There is the mentoring program of Rebecca. Where are the mentees? The mentees are early stage researchers. They want to explore their potential. And from the other side, we have the mentors, highly skilled professionals specialized in STEM, social sciences, and humanities. And we bring them together, of course, with some specific topics to address, such as professional career aspiration, moving beyond academia, soft skills, deepening in some of these soft skills, self-awareness, and the planning of their career. What have we achieved? What comes next? Also, it's produced an easy-to-use manual on scientific entrepreneurship, which is dedicated to early-stage researchers, but also to experienced researchers who want to make the next step and start something new and have an idea for a company beyond academia. For mentoring, there is also the second mentoring program I mentioned as a title, Shape the Future of Researchers. It's a pilot mentoring program with mentees from third countries and mentors from Europe. As we already mentioned, the European Commission encourage third country researchers to come in Europe and work and take the experience of the ERA. As for the numbers, then the trainings organized through this mentoring is the subjects are open science and IPR, 70 researchers attended, soft skills, 67 researchers attended, and 6 alumni researchers that left academia shared the experience. And there are 4 trainings upcoming with subjects CV writing and interview skills, proposal writing and funding, project management, and planning your career path and intersectoral mobility and mentoring scheme. As for the human resources for mobility strategy and the award of that offers to the institutions that respecting the 40 principles of Charter Code, the HR Excellence in Research logo. It's between the members of the network. A network platform was started, and 40 network members already are involved. The idea is to explore how we could the members of the EURAXESS assist and facilitate the process in order to be implemented and endorsed the Charter and the Code principles. Also to take benefit from the experience of the organization already holding this award, to provide better assistance for the implementation of Charter and Code, and of course to ensure close collaboration with European Commission team implementing the strategy, the holders of this excellence, and the assessors who are members of the network. And the practical guide was created with tips and tricks. It's compiled from the foundings and includes also some valuable information from case studies. This document is available in EURAXESS portal, and it's available for broad dissemination. This document could be reached, of course, from all members of the network, almost 1,500 EURAXESS members who can share it to the public. Moreover, for diaspora researchers and activities regarding diaspora, we are trying to improve the collaboration in scientific diasporas using cross-border collaboration and to strengthen the connection with EURAXESS representatives outside Europe, to contribute in sharing good practices and building collaborations with EURAXESS worldwide and diaspora networks. And finally, an action plan that will be delivered to establish how to establish collaboration with relevant networks, and of course to enhance collaboration, as I already said, with EURAXESS worldwide. So the expected impact was to train enough researchers, offering strengthen their skills, and to offer them the opportunities to promote attractive employment conditions, gender balance, and also enhance the mobility of researchers, to ensure that leading academics, research innovators can work together for the benefit of the Europe, and to attract also sufficient number of skilled researchers from third countries, and to better match the existing talent with the research and innovation needs, and of course the capacity to improve the capacity in European research institutions and businesses. I think that with those activities and some other activities that will be completed by the end of February, I think that we achieved more all of these targets. And my final slide has to do who are the target groups that would be or will be benefit from these activities. Of course, the EURAXESS network, the 43 bridgehead organization, meaning in 43 countries, which represents 640 organizations abroad Europe and almost 1,500 EURAXESS staff, external stakeholders, at least 20, outside of EURAXESS, involved in researchers' careers and mobility issues in Europe, also research associations, employers, research funding agencies, and of course, all the researchers who are taking advantage of the activities and the services offered by EURAXESS. And here we mentioned the 1 million incoming and outgoing researchers from Europe visiting the EURAXESS portal. Thank you very much for your attention. Elisaveta, if there are any questions, I'm at your disposal.
Thank you very much. It was very, how to say, full of facts and information about the achievements of EURAXESS in the last years. In fact, EURAXESS has a special role for knowledge transfer in Europe and through the mobility of researchers. And I see from your presentation that really there are a lot of achievements in a variety of areas supporting the career and mobility of researchers, developing new tools, new services, and offering them to researchers at different career stage, different family status, nationality, and so ensuring the main underlying principle of the era. So thank you very much also for keeping the time, and I see that we have time left if some of the participants in the workshop have questions to Achilles. Please go ahead. Okay. I do not see any questions. In this case, I should like to give the floor to Adam, who will present the future of EURAXESS, the ideas for the hubs model. So Adam, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much, Ellie, and thank you for the invitation. I hope you can hear me well and see me.
Yes.
I suppose I have a bit of extra time maybe for the presentation, which I'm not going to use in full, but it gives me a more relaxed way probably of presenting, and maybe also questions to receive from the audience in the end. We will see. So let me introduce myself briefly. My name is Adam Molnár, and I work at the Bajzoltán Nonprofit Ltd, the coordinating institution in Hungary for the Hungarian EURAXESS network. And I am also coordinator of the EURAXESS Hubs project, which I will speak to you about in an instant. But before starting that, let me share my screen. Yeah, I hope you can see it. So,
okay.
Whereas I think we will mostly talk about the achievements of EURAXESS Top IV, which is a large and complex project getting to the end, and you have just heard the long list of quite impressive achievements of this project. As Elisaveta said, the next one, the Hubs project that I'm speaking about, is introducing a pilot for the future operation model of EURAXESS, because obviously, given the policy context, the shifting priorities, and the way we are looking at the future, we need to adjust that. And we would like, of course, EURAXESS to remain as effective and as broad as before, even better than that. So this is why we have started to think about trying something that is better responding to the policy challenges. And this is the hubs model that I will introduce. Okay, so what we are doing is, first, we are implementing as a pilot, as a limited pilot, a novel service model for EURAXESS. And this is the hub model, along with the currently used hierarchical model of national networks with national coordinators, and focusing on the clients, researchers, talents, and institutions in the proximity of the national points of contact for EURAXESS. We are also preparing the EURAXESS members who participate in this pilot for providing services using this hub model. And we, in the process, we are promoting the 3 chosen thematic areas, each focusing on a different aspect of the career of researchers and the related institutional support. These 3 thematic areas are in the center of each of the hubs that we are setting up in the frame of this project. The duration, as you see, is 1 year. It's a short project. We don't have time to test it widely, and we don't have time to follow the test up too much. But we hope that the next project coming after will offer the chance for that. But still, within that limited time, we are trying to give a full test to the hubs principle with 29 participants covering the majority of the countries that participate in the EURAXESS network, and with a budget of 1 million euros. So what is the concept about? Well, we think of EURAXESS hubs as platforms for thematic cross-border collaboration, integrating EURAXESS service centers, which are operating in the countries that are part of the hubs, and also adding their external partners, for example, multipliers, enabler organizations, to provide the services to the researchers, research organizations, and other service centers. The players, the partners, are the same as before. The services are the same as before. You have seen it in the previous presentation. Just as a very short reminder, we are focusing obviously on the career development and on the mobility of researchers, and enabling them and their host organizations to better handle these challenges. So this is unchanged. What we are adding as a new feature is really the way or the mode of operation, because we understand that we have to make the cross-border collaboration more effective in order to better serve the various mobility directions and mobility modes of the researchers and the institution's preferences. So we are really focusing on making the partners' competencies better available to the researchers and better available to the other institutions, so that they are easier to be connected and faster and more effective in offering their services. All this is being done via a virtual platform, which is nothing rocket science. It is using the EURAXESS European and national portals as its main element as before, but adding specific content, and as you will see, adding some extra features in the end. So it's really a network of different EURAXESS related and EURAXESS driven organizations in several countries, being organized around specified thematic areas, so that the competencies of these players get added up. So I hope that the background is now clear. This is how the hubs are built up. You can see the elements here. The local ecosystem is the key because that's the environment in which the hub arms, the local hub arms are based. The competence network I've explained before, and the little rays here symbolize that. Important to say that the hubs themselves are the cross-border structures which are made up of the local arms. And the local arms are the key in the hub network because they are centering on the EURAXESS centers, the EURAXESS members, which are operating in that given local ecosystem. And they together make up the cross-border EURAXESS hub. Well, what we are achieving for or aiming for, let's say, and we'll be getting to in the end, we are establishing 3 new EURAXESS hubs. You can see the list here in the blue squares. The first is called Novel Skills, and it is focusing on assisting researchers within academia and the public sector. As you know, the bulk of EURAXESS activities and the member institutions are still representing that sector. The second hub is entitled Novel Career Paths, and this is for services for researcher careers beyond academia, so across sectors. And the third is again another specific one. It's called Novel Careers, and that is the hub for scientific startup entrepreneurship. The scope of collaboration, what involves the EURAXESS partnerships is the first hub has 13 partner institutions, EURAXESS partner institutions. The second one has 8, and the third one also 8. So you can see it's a quite well established in a cross-border aspect. What are we planning to get by the end? Well, we are, as I said, we are first of all and most importantly, we're aiming for 3 established hubs with a clearly defined service portfolio, building on the achievements of previous EURAXESS activities. And in this top 4 project is really key because of the broad range of services that you have just seen in the previous presentation. And each of these hubs that will be established, some new services or new way of organizing the services will of course be added to fit the hub model. Each of these hubs will have a digital toolkit for the services. And this is very, very important because clearly physical way of providing the services has limitations. So we are really focusing on the virtual platform offering these digital toolkits that will be the result of the setting up of the hubs. However, in addition to the hub-specific outputs, we are also focusing or hoping to have some horizontal achievements. For example, we are offering continuous assistance for the integration of these digital toolkits. As I said, the EURAXESS portals, the European and national portals are serving as the main platform, the current and future platform for providing these these digital services. So there is assistance available for that. And we are also emphasizing communicating the idea and the results to the stakeholders as well as the wider public. And this external communication as very tangible results, I just listed here the most important ones, will have 3 podcasts produced and 6 success stories, each showing or showcasing something clearly related to one of the hubs. We also need to focus on sharing the knowledge gained within the EURAXESS network. As I said, it's a limited scope project with short time for implementation and the relatively small involvement of EURAXESS members, at least compared to the actual size of the EURAXESS network, which is pretty big. So this knowledge sharing and showcasing will involve the EURAXESS network through organizing so-called Idea Lab events, where we will have long and detailed ample time provided for detailed discussions of the hubs and the lessons learned, and the so-called virtual study tours, which prove or provide the opportunity for EURAXESS members not so well acquainted with the hub model to learn from others who are already implementing it in the specified areas that I also introduced. And finally, we are also planning to have a model for collecting data from the hubs to measure the activities that we do and to make data comparable. It's a key. It's something maybe not so visible, but it's also a key aspect of our operation. So in short, this is what we are doing. This is what we are planning. It's the future, but it's happening now, actually. And with this, I would like to thank you for your attention. And in case there are any questions, I'm open to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adam, for your presentation for the future project, for the hubs idea. And I think this is an excellent approach, because presently we see that in many, parts of Europe, regional collaboration among EURAXESS members appears there. Different topics discussed among researchers, and you focus on very specific topics related to the career, to the so in fact the career, to the industry, to the other sector, but also how researchers could build on their own ideas, achievements, and start their own companies and become entrepreneurs. And of course, the novel skills, this is a specific challenge for all researchers in the time we are living, and against all demands related to open science, open innovation, and the changes in our environment. So I saw that there is a question in the chat. Fernando Josa Prado, if I pronounce correctly. He asked, Fernando, do you like to take the floor and direct the question? Oh,
hello,
yes,
can
please.
you hear me? Can
Yes.
you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, well, I can read the questions. I think it's very, very interesting, this idea of the hub. I just got like two things that I'm curious about, like the funding for the entrance of these external partners, collaborators in the hubs. As I understood, you are going to integrate further partners or further collaborations to the already existing ones, and I guess they will be more local, so that they kind of build the sub ecosystems in all these European hub ecosystem. I reckon this funding should be very important in order to guarantee the functionality of this hub ecosystem. And my second question is why separating the hub of beyond academia from the startup and entrepreneurship? To my understanding and knowledge, everything that is not academia is beyond academia. So I don't think, I am not sure how it's possible to try to tell researchers that entrepreneurship is something really different from thinking beyond academia.
Thank you for the questions. I think they are clear. First of all, the funding. Unlike other Europe-wide hub models being introduced or being established already, in technological fields, the EURAXESS hub model still has to think of implementing some kind of support for establishing hubs on a wider scale. As I said, now we are having only a pilot of 3 hubs, and funding is only available for the participating EURAXESS coordinators to establish the service model. So we are a bit far from that. But you are right, in the future, most probably we will think of having some kind of arrangement in place to enable also local EURAXESS members to be able to adopt the service model, and this could easily require extra funding or additional funding. The EURAXESS model is open actually for any institution, any service provider to offer basic services on a free, no-cost basis. And this is what EURAXESS network members actually do. In case anyone wants to join the network, it's possible. But for the arrangement with external partners and collaborators in the local ecosystem, it's up to the actual EURAXESS contact point or center, let's say, EURAXESS center operating within that environment to work out the provisions, how they collaborate. This can take many, many forms, and I'm really not, I don't have a full view of how different countries, different regions, even cities are doing it. There are good models. I think it will be one of the key questions of the period starting after our project, 2022 maybe, to look into the possibilities of this. So it's a very, very relevant issue, I admit, but right now I don't have an answer. So, and for the second question, maybe the titles themselves are not fully clarifying of what these 2 hubs are concentrating on. The Beyond Academia hub is more like an inclusive and very broad coverage, focusing on the possible career paths or trajectories for young researchers who are considering careers in a non-academic environment. And this could, you are right, this could include scientific startup entrepreneurship, but also many, many other things. So the services are scaled to these many opportunities. And the services actually in this hub include, for example, mentoring services, intersectoral mentoring services, then matchmaking events with potential non-academic employers, for example, and thirdly, also building a community of talents of mixed backgrounds, academic and non-academic. So as you can see, it's really broad. Whereas the scientific startup entrepreneurship hub is much more specific. It really does what it's offering and focusing on the very well-defined career pathway of somebody taking up this path with targeted actions. So this is the basic difference.
Okay. Thank you very much, Adam. I understand both of your replies regarding the last one. Well, the first one, sorry. I think it's good to keep in mind that sustainability of the hub is going to require funds at several levels of organizations: European, global, regional, local, distributed, centralized, everything, right? And it's good to have that in mind. It's a reflection that I wanted to put in the table. And in the other one, in the second one, I think you are correct. I mean, entrepreneurship is a very specific pathway within the Beyond Academia pathways. But I would stress the idea that it's good for researchers entering in this conceptual field of living academia to understand that actual entrepreneurship is one of the pathways. And that entrepreneurship has got also another interpretation that is called intrapreneurship, which is basically how do you move within a given pathway with the skills that you would use for normal entrepreneurship. So that's where the limits kind of fade away and overlap sometimes. And I think this is also very important to take in account whether, well, when we are going to put forward actions in order to bring these beyond academia entrepreneurship ideas.
Okay,
absolutely, very relevant. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I see some other questions in the chat. Adam, if you could briefly reply to these questions, because we have 1 minute left before the break.
Well, I'm just trying to read the questions. I'm sorry, I was focusing on answering the previous question. As I see, first question, will EURAXESS launch an engagement initiative for new stakeholders? It's happening in hubs in the project I presented, but it's not centralized. It's up to the individual hub members to engage their stakeholders locally. I admit it might not be the most spectacularly effective way, but as we are now doing the pilot, it's important to act small scale, so it's happening, but it's not not something centralized or not something that can be offered maybe as a clear-cut model for anyone else to follow. That will be the next step, not in our project. Yes, the usual service centers are international offices, but not only. Actually, there's a very wide variety for EURAXESS centers. Depending on what kind of services they are offering. They can be career centers as well, and many others, just to say 2 examples. Okay, very quickly, I'm going on to the next questions. Local hubs and collaboration, expert non-profit collaboration. It's a very, yes, you are right in the comment. Exactly, there is an issue that we have to focus on regarding the non-profit nature of the possible collaborators, especially if the service is advanced and not just basic service, which is absolutely typically not offered for free. This tension is there, but the EURAXESS network as a whole has to kind of digest the implications and get ready for tackling it in a broader way, I believe. So other than acknowledging that this exists, I really cannot now offer a very comprehensive answer to this. Again, we will need time to deal with it.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Adam, once more for your interesting presentation and replying to the questions. So
I had an additional, sorry, I'm Natalia. There is an additional question. I don't know if you can read it.
Do hubs have an internal organization different from, yeah. Yes, thank you, Natalia, for the question. Yes, the internal organization is what I showed in the slides. Within the local system, the competence network, the local arm, and the hub itself, which is made up of all these. That is the organization. It's a bit, it's the soft model. It doesn't have any formal or implications, a formal pattern or something. But we first have to see if this relatively simple model works before trying to scale it up. So other than this, it doesn't have any further levels. Work packages are just for the project. So they are really internal to implementing the project itself, and they are not as important as the hub model that I was trying to present on the slide.
Okay, I hope that you reply to the questions. So once more, thank you very much. So we will have a 10 minutes a break now. And in fact, well, we will start 12 o'clock. 11 o'clock with the discussions in the groups. I should like to how to say, remind you that the topic for the discussion is related to the needs and challenges for EURAXESS transfer into ERA talent platform. And now we should focus on what is needed and how we can be prepared to implement the ERA priorities in the 6 topics listed as separate groups. So you will be after the break directly sent to the groups. And I would like to encourage you to be very active in the discussions there and to provide us, how to say, feedback and help to face the challenges. So 10 minutes break and we will see in the groups. Thank you.
I see some of you already finished. We needed a bit more time in our group, so sorry, Ellie, but I closed a bit later, 2 minutes later, the working groups.
Don't worry, I saw that some groups were discussing until the very last moment, so you didn't take the time for break, as I see. And I don't know if all groups are already here, so you close the meeting room, the breaking rooms. Svetlana?
Yes, all groups are closed and now one by one they return to the main meeting.
Okay, so we have then the time for getting feedback about the group discussions. And I should like to open the floor to the first group moderator, Krasimira Tancheva, who will inform us about the tools for career development and discussions on their topic. Krasi, are you here?
Maybe
I'll take it if it's okay with you. And can I share my screen? Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Brilliant. So I am sharing my screen now. Can you see it, or is it? Yeah, everyone can see it. Just checking. Brilliant. So I won't take a lot of your time on the presentation, but we had our group. We had a very interesting discussion. It was a rather small group in comparison to some of the other groups that I've seen, including myself, Krasi, as well as Karen, Sarah, Catalin, and Foteini from different countries, and that gave us a lot of different perspective on the topic, which is super important in my view. So what we did is actually we ran through the different tools. You can see it. I won't take a lot of your time with the tools, and you can have a look later on and see them by yourself. But we try to drill into the discussion itself and thinking of the forward-looking and how can we maybe what can we suggest? And we asked a few questions. I'll run through the questions quickly, and then I'll come back to the main points. And I'm conscious I have 6 more minutes, or so I'll try to keep on time. The first question was rather general. Is there kind of a career development tools in your organization, just to scope a little bit? The second one was, have you ever personally been a trainer, trainee, or I haven't done something like this? The third question was, do you consider EURAXESS career development tools valuable instrument for implementation of ERA priorities? The next question was, should we continue using online type of career developments, concentrate more on face-to-face, or some sort of a parallel hybrid solution. Should career development activities continue working as a volunteer activity, or should it become a little bit more professional, which is a big point as well? And the last question was, what else is needed to develop, improve these instruments for supporting career development, and what else and how could it be done in this regard for implementation of ERA priorities? So not surprisingly, I would say, most of us were aware of the career development tools, and some of us had some sort of a career development tool within our organization. We were aware of the EURAXESS possibilities and what is happening. And I think one of the points that we found is some of us had some experience themselves, some of us didn't, and some of us had experience as trainee or not, and that gave us another point of view, which is important. Is it important? All of us think it's important, and so that to cut a long story short, it is important. I think that the career development tools are an important tool that we have. The only bit that we all of us have agreed on is that there's a variety of tools and possibilities within EURAXESS. However, one of the things that we are less good at is dissemination and reach to the wider audiences and the specific to the relevant audiences as well. So this is one of the points we wanted to make, is the dissemination and accessibility of the materials to wider audiences. This is one point that we wanted to make. It's important, but we really need to find ways to reach to wider audiences. On the online face-to-face parallel, I think the discussion was there was a consensus that we need to find the sweet spot of hybrid, some sort of a combination between online and face-to-face, which gives us a really good point on the complexities of face-to-face and the fact that online gave us a lot of possibilities, but it also there's nothing like the face-to-face in certain cases, and that's something that we need to keep in mind. The last bit, the next bit was on volunteer professional. This is something that we've discussed a little bit. There's very good materials over there. Most of it was done voluntarily by members, and if we want to do something professionally, we'll need to have budget, and this is something that we'll need to look in looking forward. This is something we really need to think about looking forward. What else do we need to develop? I think one of the points that we were all in agreement on is that there's a lot of things there. What we need to do is actually build some sort of a pathway for different stakeholders and different clients to allow them to find a relevant element within it. We need to connect it with some sort of a human touch. And looking forward, this is something that we need to develop in conjunction with the local culture, the local needs, while using external expertise. So if one country is very good in something, they can actually support another country or other institutions. I think it's a really good thing to know that there's quite a lot of investment that we'll need to do in something like this, but it is something that we've all agreed that we need to continue to develop the contents while, and I think that's the important bit, making it more accessible and tailored to the audiences as we move forward. It is an important element, very relevant to the audiences, very much needed, but we really need to step up the dissemination and accessibility. So to summarize it all, yes, we think it's important. We should be able to develop it if possible, and if there is a budget to it. I think a budget would really help to this. We really need to build some sort of a dissemination plan moving forward on how to reach wider audiences throughout the different countries, and also we need to build some sort of a pathway that helps people find a way within the variety and wide and rich array of possibilities that EURAXESS gives them. So I think I'm 1 minute late, if I'm not mistaken, but so apologies on that. I hope that makes sense, and I don't know if there's questions, because I can't see the chat at the moment. I'll stop sharing if that's okay.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Really, you provided us food for thought how to provide content and develop tools more professionally to be adapted to local needs. So I would like now to ask the second group, industry collaboration. Xavi, are you going to report on the outcomes?
Actually, I'm going to try because we used every single second to continue the discussion. So I'll try to do it on the go, and I'll invite any of the people in my breakout session to make any amendments, corrections, or completions. So we actually had to, we ended up being a little bit tight on the discussion because we devoted a bit of time to the history of intersectoral mobility in EURAXESS. Actually, I decided that we should devote a bit of time because, of course, in collaboration or cooperation with industry, in the case of EURAXESS, comes from the beginning of times, and we have been doing some different things. So basically, we have seen how for many years we have tried to engage with limited success, I would dare to say, industry or non-academic sector in EURAXESS. So in order to make use of our EURAXESS services, but since we got the increase of the mandate and we started working in a more holistic way towards career development, there's been a bit of a shift in the things that we've been trying to do with the non-academic sector. So we've been, instead of trying to go to the industry as an institution to bring them into the EURAXESS world, this has allowed us to go in trying to fill this gap between industry and academia through the researchers. So providing support to the researchers in order to have them, if you want to, as proxies for connecting the academic and the non-academic world. So in that sense, we already had some things happening, especially on recent times. And when thinking from this point of view, there were a couple of key ideas. One of them is that if you're thinking about why researchers in industry, first of all, is that it's not only industry, but it's the entire non-academic sector. So one of the things is that, basically, putting it very bluntly, we want to have researchers basically in every level of society. So one of the things that we need to think about is how can we help the researchers facilitate that transition to that side? Because it was the experience from some of the people in the group, among which I include myself, of course, that this transition is never done. I mean, it tends to not be done in a very planned way. So we can help researchers plan this transition better, and we should try to think to foster a possible cooperation with industry in that direction. We also, a couple of key agents for possible cooperation came up, industry associations and alumni, very important ones, which have made this transition already from academia to non-academic. So again, using this connection between people. And when thinking on services that EURAXESS could provide in order to have this cooperation with industry, one of the key messages that came up is that services have to be really well targeted and really well advertised. And in this sense, we did devote some time actually to emphasizing that traditional EURAXESS services are probably very relevant also for non-academic sector. So, I mean, even from the supporting traditional mobility, maybe not so important for large companies to have their own infrastructures, but I mean, there's an entire world of SMEs, startups, and so on, which probably would benefit from support in terms of visa, finding schools, and all kinds of practical things which have been in the EURAXESS DNA for some time. And about suggestions, I mean, that's basically when our discussion stopped, but we were talking about the possibility of finding events that somehow will put in value this figure of researchers in non-academic sectors, and from the side of events for the researchers in order to facilitate the transition, very focused, of course, on skills and transferable skills that would be valid in these non-academic sectors. And that's all I can say for the moment.
Okay, thank you very much, Xavi. So I got the point that when you target it towards researchers, our messages, our services, and the things started to change, and I think this is good. And I like that you repeated the key message also from the first group, that we should better target our services and our advertisement efforts. Okay, so I should like to give the floor to the moderator of the next group, Lana. So the floor is yours, please.
Hi, yes, thank you. Okay, I will share my screen for a bit. Just give me a moment. Okay, I hope you see the slide now. So our group really had a fruitful discussion on this topic, since all of us have different ranging experience and come from different backgrounds. So it was very nice to hear sort of a different stakeholders approach on this topic. We firstly went through some basics on the Charter and Code and the HRS for our procedure regarding the policy part, and then what do we as EURAXESS Network actually do in this sense. So what we mentioned at the beginning is what was achieved in the past 3 years, of course, since we had a special task dedicated to the promotion of the Charter and Code. And of course, we mentioned the webinars that we created. There was 4 of them. We had the international workshop on the initial phase as one of the most sensitive parts of this procedure for the institutions. And of course, the collab on the Charter and Code that's available on the EURAXESS portal. So we also mentioned what was the main idea behind what was done, as it was previously also presented, you know, the exploring of how could the EURAXESS Network members assist and facilitate the institutions in this process, how could it benefit from the experience of the institutions who already hold the logo, how to provide better assistance in the implementation of the Charter and Code principles in the HRS for our procedure. And of course, all of this was achieved in a very close cooperation with the EC team, the HR Excellence in Research logo holders, assessors, and the network members, of course. So we mentioned, just to jump shortly, the webinars that are available at the HRS for our e-learning module as very practical example of sharing this type of knowledge. It consists of very on-topic webinars on the parts of the procedure, on the documents of the procedure, and so on. And I will just like to jump to the conclusions that we actually made. So you will all get, I think, this presentation so you can access all of the material of interest, since everything is linked in this presentation. But we actually tried to approach this topic in 2 ways. So to consider 2 important facets of this, of, let's say, thinking about the future of the EURAXESS network and what can we do better. And actually the first one, and it's actually a very important one, is the capacity building of the EURAXESS network on the topic of the HRS4R in order to provide the services in a better way, since not every country has the same level of experience and the capacity within the EURAXESS network on this topic. And of course, the promotional activities, the better promotion and better visibility of the EURAXESS network within this topic. So what we concluded that definitely everything that has been already produced, that has been done by this network, should just be kept and broadened, improved, bettered. We had the discussion of holding info days, for example, on national levels, where we could include multiple case studies of examples of institutions that were very successful in this procedure. Of course, having in mind different types of institutions, so not every case is applicable for every type of institution. Have success stories published and included. Of course, having the policy component, which is very crucial to understanding this procedure. and kind of the groundwork on what do we do in order to implement it better. Then again, as I said, webinars, workshops, especially dedicated to newcomers and experience, interlink them, connect them in order to provide better help. You can use the tips and tricks document that was produced within the project. You will have it in the presentation linked. It's sort of a compilation, as you previously saw in the big presentation made by Achilles. It's a comprehensive document which includes all of the material that was produced within the project, so everything from the workshops, webinars, etc., and real case studies from the point of view of the institutions and the assessor's point of view, which is also very important, as you know, in this procedure. And you also have a document and the example of Sofia University as a case study, which Elisaveta mentioned during the workshop. So Elisaveta, you can please, if you have it on hand, just drop a link in the chat area. We also thought about promotion via different networks, for example, Marie Curie, ERC, widening in the era, especially twinning capacity building activities in the wide era, the example of special forums to have. So we had a very, very nice example in the top 4 projects with chats over coffee on Fridays. So maybe something like this. This is a very nice, easy, informal way of talking about this topic. So it can be open to everyone and anyone and have a special dedicated 1 hour. Then it's all about the sharing the experience, really, for example, through Microsoft Teams channels that could be made for special for experience and for the newcomers. So this allows a very easy interaction on this topic. Of course, we have to keep in mind the thing that we will probably get to seeing each other live. Not everything will be online, but we have to, of course, have both facets in mind. And of course, maybe promoting specific principles which are crucial for one and the other, especially something that's more in the focus on gender, open science, and the mobility, possibility of connecting it to the gap. Of course, we know that this is something in works and we don't know much about, but it will probably be somehow linked. And it's all about what has already been done, as I mentioned, broadened, developed, improved. What we must emphasize is that we need to find a way to include more of the public sector. We need to include both non-academics like NGOs, museums, art galleries. So we cannot forget about different types of institutions and sectors in this area, and as I previously mentioned, promoting more the EU policy as such. So I think I used much of the time, so I will not go further, but thank you very much. I remain at your disposal.
Thank you very much, Lana. You made really exhaustive overview of our discussions. So the key message in my view is that really we should continue with the capacity building of our network, but also focus on, again, on the promotion, but using a large variety of channels for knowledge exchange and sharing among EURAXESS members, but also reaching better our stakeholders. So I should like to give now the floor to Svetlana, who is the moderator of the 4th group, Mentoring and Career Guidance. Svetlana, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Eli. In our group, I shortly presented just an explanation what it is, a mentorship and mentoring researcher. And then I shared what I found out that there is not much research existing on mentoring at all, and data is currently gathering on this issue, and the studies continue, but the interest in mentoring is increasing. And here I gave an example of Sheffield program that their evaluation data indicates that mentoring helps more significantly in the career of young researchers. They have more than 200 mentors, and these are what they found out through their evaluation. Then I shared several important facts and figures from the current mentoring program that we run. It is actually running for 9 months, and for this very short period, we gathered interest from all over the world, and a lot of researchers continue joining. Even now, these numbers are not already valid. We give in the program 6 predefined topics that they have to choose, and very often they most often they choose career counseling and publications and presentations. So this is what really young researchers need. And from Google Analytics, you can see what is our audience. It is about mostly young researchers, and here male audience prevail in comparison with those that registered in the program, that are mostly female researchers. Not mostly, but female researchers prevail, and this is very important for the future of the female researchers. This is the picture that I am proud of. Actually, you see here the visitors from Google Analytics, the visitors from different countries to our mentoring program website. And it continues growing. So there is really a country that has no interest in our mentoring program and that didn't hear about it at all. Here I didn't present this slide to my group, but just because I didn't want to press them with these facts, because I wanted to hear their own experience, and I wanted to hear their suggestions just from the fact that this program exists for the first time, and it was never done such thing before, neither in EURAXESS nor as a whole. I don't find any information about such a program in the world. So we have this is a side effect. I can say this is not the purpose of the program. 2 of the young researchers found their new jobs, due to the participation in the program, due to their mentor guidance. Many young researchers joined teams, research articles, projects, etc. We have a request from University of Leuven to use the program for their internal needs, and we consider that we will start testing in our university very soon, and we already work on that, and maybe in the future we should provide this service through the program to all kind of organizations in Europe that would use the tool for their internal program. Also, the data from the program will be included in a PhD dissertation of one of our mentees. This is his topic is related to mentoring as a whole, and he explores the EURAXESS mentoring program from his own experience currently. We cooperate with other mentoring programs. We are about to start discussions with Maria Curie Alumni Association mentoring program about cooperation. And with Rebecca, we already cooperate in a very good way. So we consider that this work should continue permanently. I mean, my management is definitely engaged with improving it and with keeping it alive despite of opportunities of external funding. And as I said already, we started using it as an internal instrument for testing. I asked my participants whether they had kind of mentoring program in their organization. I got different answers, but in general, in most of the cases, it is actually a starting process. Just like in Sofia University, we are currently in this stage. Some of them are advanced, some not that much, but taking a look at the second question, if they have their own experience in combination with the first answers, the answers of the first question, we can say that in the past, there was only formal supervisor and no kind of mentor, and currently in many places, the interest in such program increases, and they consider implementing some kind. So with this question, I wanted to actually see whether they consider this activity as an important part of all career development services, or the enormous time and effort that it consumes, it would be it wouldn't have a very long-term effect, but no one said that. So most of us consider it as a crucial and very important instrument for integration of researchers in the research system, in the research organizational culture. And there was also a suggestion to arrange a formal EURAXESS hub on mentoring researchers in the ERA Talent platform. The question whether we should continue using international type of mentoring, that is the current one, to concentrate more on organizational type, or we should continue providing both in parallel. All agreed that we should provide both in parallel. For instance, international students in the organizations are definitely in need of local mentor for better integration in the organizational culture. But international type of mentoring that we offer right now could help a lot to researchers, and especially to third country researchers that would join any European organization for further research. How should we continue working? There was a very hot discussion on that. We should provide definitely training for mentors, but on the point whether it should be professional service or it should continue working voluntarily, there were many arguments on that, and we actually consider that in specific cases, professional service gives more, but volunteer work also provides very important added value to developing era. So we should consider using some kind of bot, not with equal manner, but we should consider also adding some professional service to what we do. And we discussed at the end, there was a very interesting suggestion by Miroslav, who is very much in IT area. He considers very probable that in the near future it will appear a virtual mentor as well. And we decided to have all the materials sent and to have another 5 days, because the time was not enough. Another 5 days to finalize our comments and suggestions from the working group. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Svetlana. It is very interesting to see that the mentoring program has success. I know this from my university. You are doing really a great job. And the good point is that other organizations are interested, and that in the group you found out that mentoring should continue, and it could be a professional service, and probably virtual mentors will appear as well. But in my view, the most essential message is that this is a service helping a lot to young researchers, and it should face further their needs and support their career development. Thank you. And now I should like to give the floor to Sibyl, who is in charge of the 5th panel, Social Integration of Researchers and Families. Sibyl, I should like to ask you to keep the time, because we started to be behind the schedule. Okay, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Ellie. And we would like to sum up the most important points we had in our group, not to discuss everything, but just briefly mention some important points. This is Mark and myself, we co-moderated this group's discussion, and it was a very nice and interactive group we had. It was Brechtje from the Netherlands, it was Lula from Greece, Maria from Austria, Siri from Estonia, and Slaven from the European Commission. And I would like to ask Mark to just briefly share the slides, or to just tell us the most important points we discussed. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Sibyl. I will share the screen. So yes, we got Slaven. Yay. Anyway, just a very brief presentation. We just assume that we know that you will get this presentation, you will get our most important points. We discussed many different things. It was about social integration initiatives, which can be a lot of different things. In top 4, we just used 4 tasks called dual career, family networks, managing diversity, refugees initiatives, but it can be a lot of different things. We use these 4 tasks as a starting point of our discussion and ask people, what should we continue working with? What is important for you? What is important for the ERA talent platform? So first, on the dual career services, I'm not going to mention it all. You're going to read this. One of the things we find important is that we keep on sharing experiences between each other. EURAXESS, we are a strong network because of the social contact we have. So it's very important. We hope we can keep that and we can share experiences and learn from each other. And a lot of different other things for dual career services. I hope you can read it. We also hope you can send more information so that we can take that with us in the new projects. So there was dual career services, a lot of good initiatives and points in the discussion. The EURAXESS Family Network, for example, we mentioned mental well-being. Mental well-being is an important item. Slaven also used it in a BHO meeting yesterday as a topic. So we find this an important topic, not necessarily under the family network, but we would like to work with this. Then managing diversity. It's a very big topic. Gender is always part of managing diversity as well. Gender is a topic of its own. Gender is everywhere. So we need to find out how can we, gender is everywhere, yeah. How can we put this as an interesting topic in the next project? Information about internal local networks with ministries. There was something Lula mentioned, a very, very important topic as well. And then finally, the refugee initiatives, very relevant, very important. At some point, some countries find it very important because they have a lot of refugees. At some point, they see less refugees, but the topic always is important. But data, like who is doing what? We can learn from the data so that we can learn from each other's experiences. So to keep it short, thank you so much. Sibyl, anything to add?
No, perfect sum up, and everyone can read more details about it. And I just look forward to continuing this nice collaboration. And thank you so much, Mark, and all the others from the group.
Thank you.
So I give back to
Thank you as well. And I think that learning from each other, this is the main message, because we could share the expertise in how we help families or support dual careers or refugees. And this is essential. Okay, so I will thank you once more. And the last moderator, Carla, this is an essential topic discussed in the last 2 years at European level regarding brain drain and the balanced brain circulation. Please, Carla.
Thank you. I hope you can hear and see my screen right now. I can say that we had a very balanced group. We had experienced colleagues from the EURAXESS network and also experienced colleagues from outside the EURAXESS network. So it was really good for the diverse discussion. We had a short warm-up survey to dive into the topic. Then we drive our future development of the brain circulation issues from the policy documents. Especially we derived our future cooperation or development of these topics from the Zagreb Call for Action, because this was specifically devoted to brain circulation. Then we had a look at the structure of the EURAXESS network, because brain circulation is very much related to mobility, which is the core activity of the EURAXESS network from the very beginning. So we had a look at the country representation of the EURAXESS centers, also the coverage area, because the coverage area actually is very crucial for the hubs concept. And we also touch upon the global perspective of the EURAXESS worldwide, because this is very much related to the brain circulation as well. Then we had a brief look at the statistics provided by the network. We can see that still entry conditions, accommodation, and really the legal staff is very highly demanded from the researchers to get assistance on. This is the statistics for the last half year, pandemic half year. So we still can see that those topics are relevant even during the pandemic, even maybe more difficult to tackle. Just to compare with the period before pandemic, and then we touch upon the achievements and activities developed during the Top IV project. Focused on experience sharing, like it was mentioned in the last presentation by Mark, or the last message Elisabetta mentioned, that sharing the experience is very crucial for the network, being the European network, having a very different experience and knowledge accumulated. So I just summarized the major activities like study visits, book the trainers, thematic expert, knowledge groups, especially focusing on social security, taxation and entry conditions, organizing a very interesting webinar on the topic of social security, which was very highly appreciated by the network members, and then having a look at the global dimension, again, deriving from the Zagreb Call for Action, we can see that there are recommendations towards activities on collaboration with scientific diasporas and teaming or providing some kind of coordination with excellent scientific centers of excellence. So again, I pointed out that what are the major deliverables or activities achievements within the top 4 project, scientific diaspora database and database of European centers of excellence. And based on that input, we started discussion. We started with a very broad topic of brain circulation. The question is actually how we do perceive the term brain or talent, that we should somehow try to define in our future communication who we consider brain or talent in our perspective. The topic is so broad that typically what is necessary are the overall working conditions, transparent recruitment procedures, opportunities for career progress, financial instruments to attract talents, researchers, but having in mind also social security, and also that the national perspectives of employment conditions, that there is a lack of coordination between all stakeholders at different levels. So this is probably also the place where EURAXESS can put itself as a coordination body. That brain circulation is about complex opportunities, so it's not just opportunities in academia, but when speaking about brain circulation, we should have also in mind that we should inform the researchers about the possibilities outside academia, that there is a lack of return grants, and if available only for short-term period, and they should also be available outside academic positions. Then brain circulation is very much related to the total investment in research per country, and that the topic of brain circulation is sort of biased from the perspective of the speaker and the national or EU perspective, etc. What EURAXESS can do in this topic, it's quite obvious. Again, we had a look at what is suggested within the EURATalent platform. I took advantage of yesterday's presentation by the European Commission to build upon this concept of EURATalent platform. And so we discussed what can EURAXESS do at various levels. So basically we discussed the national level. We can focus on trainings for EURAXESS professional community and for providing researchers services towards researchers. So to put it, to somehow explain it, that the research managers and managements at universities, for instance, they should be aware why the transparent recruitment procedures are so important, opening up the positions for the broader pool of talents. So it's not just like prescription of those procedures by like strategies or legislation, but also with trainings for them to understand how important and how beneficial this is for the sake of the institution. So training towards research managers and management, and training towards professionals providing services to researchers, enabled to meet them with various stakeholders, to discuss directly, collaborate with different actors, ministries, immigration offices, etc., to really facilitate dialogue at national level. And EURAXESS network should really try to fit and fill in the existing gaps where are the unique points of the network where there are not already existing actors in the field. We also touch upon the topics of other groups that in local terms the EURAXESS could take the opportunity for training for researchers and also with HR strategy for researchers. It was discussed that the approval process should be maybe considered not to just to issue the award HR Seal of Excellence strategy at the beginning when forming the plan, but after some kind of implementation. So again, getting back to the structure of the talent platform, I proposed this kind of topics for future development, and what we have agreed that definitely the trainings towards institutions, sharing experience via site visits or collaboration platforms, discussions is the crucial element for proceeding, and also to facilitate dialogue with stakeholders at policy level on challenges still in smooth mobility, either on national level but also on the European level, to provide sort of case studies as an evidence for European policymakers to complement statistical data which will be available through, for instance, researchers' career observatory. So these are the major conclusions, that collaboration, further trainings, knowledge sharing, and also communicating the issues towards policymakers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Carla. This is, I think, the most essential topic, how to attract talents and which is the role of EURAXESS in this area, how we could work among us, exchange knowledge, experience, collaborate, but also how we can work with the other stakeholders at various levels and find a way to attract people from diaspora networks, but also young people. We didn't not discuss about the education and our cooperation with educational stakeholders, but I think this is also part of our future, and we could have, I hope, other opportunities to discuss. And I think that it is, we are behind the schedule, and we had very interesting discussions. I'm really sorry that we are in the virtual space and could not see each other. But in any case, I think this seminar was very fruitful. We exchanged a lot of views, and I think we have a lot of new ideas which in EURAXESS could be discussed and could help to shape better our common future. And in conclusion, I should like to thank very much to all participants, to moderators for taking this role, to all presenters, especially big thank you to Slavant and the European Commission staff and the cabinet of the Commissioner Maria Gabriel, who also put interest to our workshop and welcomed it. But special thanks to Svetlana, who devoted so many efforts, time to organize and this workshop, to host the meeting. And I would like to give Svetlana the final words. So Svetlana, the floor is yours.
First of all, thank you very much for everything. To all of you, I mean, it was amazing how we collaborated today and how much you helped us. I really thank to all of you about your efforts, your time, and your support to EURAXESS activities. I especially, as already I think someone shares their phone. I think yes. Especially thanks to the moderators. You were really great and very helpful, and what you brought to the workshop was really very valuable. So final words. What we will do now, we will gather all the presentations from the first part with the political input and input from the two projects, EURAXESS Top IV and EURAXESS Hubs, and also from the second part with the discussions. We will put everything together. I would ask the moderators to prepare, to give some time to their participants to prepare final recommendations and suggestions that will be put in a document and will be published later on as recommendation of the stakeholders to EURAXESS what and how to continue implementing. And everything, including the video, will be provided to all of you for your future use and consultation on what should we do further. Thank you. Thank you very much.
May I? Do you hear me? You do hear me, Svet?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Well, a big thanks to you. You're great. You're doing a great job. Let me say something just to close this thing, the today thing, which is going to continue, hopefully. Do take into consideration the public accountability. You are all of us accountable to society, researchers or industrial sector, or both of them together. We are accountable. Why don't you go out public and talk about our accountability to all the taxpayers? Do something about that. This will be, you know, a new flag. A new flag.
Thank you. We will think on this. We will think on this. Okay, thank you very much, Lula. Lula is a member of our advisory board in EURAXESS Top IV, and we value your opinion very much, Lula. And this is it. Maybe we can all put all the cameras on.
Yeah.
And
the family photo at the end.
And yeah, let me close my chat and make the family photo. All of you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you very
Nice
much.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.